The Miami Open for maybe the first time in Main Show's history from about a week ago and some of those winners. Then we'll highlight some athletes who showed out and maybe one who should have stayed home at their pro days in preparation for this month's NFL draft. And finally, I will give my take on this season's NBA MVP race. As always, don't go anywhere. You won't want to miss anything because Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Joined by some Main Show regulars. To my right, Augie Aronson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. And to my left, Edgar Rodriguez. How are you doing?
Happy to talk some tennis, Nick. Like you said, for the first time, Miami Open.
Yeah?
Let's get into
I'm
it.
super excited. Now, Augie and I are from down south, Miami area.
Yeah, I'm about
So
45 minutes away from where the Miami Open took place.
I'm about 20, so I
Oh,
have
so you're a little closer
I have
than
you
me.
beat.
Okay.
I wasn't there.
I'm
I'm going to Miami tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm
and
from New Jersey, so a little
so
far.
a little further. I mean,
Well,
you
it
lose.
seems like natural progression for you from New Jersey to come
There
down
you
to
go.
Miami. So
There
you'll
you
be there
go.
soon enough, Edgar.
There you go.
Absolutely. But I'll tell you, we did all watch the Miami Open this year. Now, I'm going to be talking about the women's singles. Who won that? Arina Sabalenka defeated Jessica Pegula 7-5 and 6-2 to take home the women's Miami Open title and the $1.1 million prize that came with that. She is rich if she wasn't already. Neither player could hold serve well in the first set. Sabalenka broke Pegula's serve 4 times and won it 7-5, winning the last 8 points of the set. But Pegula was up at a break 3-2, but couldn't hold it in a topsy-turvy set that also saw Pegula break Sabalenka's serve 3 times. At 5-5, Sabalenka held serve at love for 6-5 lead, then broke Pegula at love after hitting 3 straight winners, 2 at the net. Sabalenka cements herself as the best active women's tennis player in the world, pretty undoubtedly, which is just amazing to see because we're in an era now post Serena Williams.
Yep.
And Sabalenka is ready to step up for that. She has 18 career titles, including being a 3-time Grand Slam champion. She won the U.S. Open last year over Pegula, so this was a rematch, and she doubled down on her victory. She's reached the finals in 4 of 6 events this year, but only won 1 of them in Brisbane. She's a full 3,000 points ahead of number 2, Iga Swiatek. That just shows
Incredible,
how
man.
dominant
Incredible.
she is.
Yeah.
Now, 2 things to note. Sabalenka leads the series versus Pegula. They've played each other 9 times. She leads it 7-2 and has won the last 3 meetings. Absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
Has her, yeah. And also, Sabalenka is from Belarus, but now lives in Miami. But the Miami crowd was actually rooting for Pegula, who's lived in Boca since she was 13. However, I have no clue why we would, as Miami fans, vote or root for Pegula.
They must not be informed.
Obviously not, because her father is Terry Pegula, who owns the Buffalo Sabres NHL team. Who cares? But the Buffalo Bills NFL team, he owns that.
Division rival, but nah, we like her.
More than division rival.
From up north, man. Representing.
That's true. There's probably a lot of people in Boca that are from that up north area.
It's so frustrating that we would root for someone with any kind of positive ties to the Buffalo Bills.
This is the one exception, Nick.
Oh,
No.
no, Nick, I'm just frustrated as you. My dad's in Baltimore. He took a picture with the Baltimore Ravens cheerleader, and I'm a Steelers fan. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, are you a traitor?
I
I get
understand
it. I'm feel the same way.
I totally understand that. Now, good for Pegula stepping up, as I said, in this world without Serena Williams competing now. But Miami, come on. We can't root for a Buffalo Bills fan.
Now they know.
you could
Now
say.
they know. We
I
informed.
hope
There you
you're
go.
I mean,
listening.
it's like we went out yesterday and at the Heat Arena, Kaseya Center, and we had a Boston sign on.
That
like,
we
that would have
would.
been just as
That
bad.
wouldn't go well. That wouldn't go well.
we would be forcibly removed from that stadium. But we are going to move on. That was a very entertaining match. Augie, you're going to be talking about the men's doubles. How did that go?
Yeah, so personally, the men's doubles is my favorite event of all this because it's electric and it's quick and it's fast-paced. Look, sometimes tennis can drag on a little bit, so for you people that want to watch something a little bit quicker, it is doubles, and specifically men's doubles. Points didn't go very long, and there was a lot of action and a lot of net play, which I personally love. As when I play tennis, I love to play at the net because I'm a tall guy. I like to just reach my hands around, and I got quick reflexes so I can play. But so, Mate Pavic and Marcelo Arevalo defeated Lloyd Gaspel and Julian Cash in the finals. Look, Pavic and Arevalo, excuse me, they're the number one doubles duo in the world. Yeah. And a big historic significance for this is they won the Sunshine the two U.S. championships. It's called the Sunshine Championship, I think, or Sunshine Double. Excuse me.
Yes.
They're only the sixth team to do that, which that includes the Miami Open and the Indian Wells tournament in California. Yep. So they won both the American tournaments, and also they've only been a team for a year and a half now, since early 2024. It's their sixth title already. So these guys are incredible. They're the number one duo in the world, and there's a reason for it, and they won this Miami Open.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, it's one of the more entertaining events at the Miami Open.
It really is.
Opposite side, the women's doubles, Mira Andreeva and Diana Schneider won that, but we're not going to delve too much into it, unfortunately. But Edgar, you are going to talk about arguably the main event,
the men's
singles.
Absolutely.
How did that go? There was an upset, right?
It went surprisingly. Novak Djokovic, he made it to another final, and what do you think? Of course, he's going to steamroll Jakub Mensik, but no. Jakub said, I'll take my first title in Miami. Look, he's only the fourth player to win his first title, and for it to be a Masters 1000. Just an incredible run. He beat the likes of Jack Draper early on, Arthur Fils, and Taylor Fritz, of course, an American tennis player who has risen to prominence recently. But yeah, I mean, you could see the last point, a huge serve all night. All night, just unbelievable. I mean, he beat the best player in history, arguably. Novak won his 411th Masters or major match in this tournament and was denied his 100th major title. Unbelievable storylines all throughout the tournament. Novak actually didn't drop a set before this match, just steamrolled his opposition as per usual, but Jakub Mensik actually had a walkover in one of his matches leading up to the final, so maybe that gave him an edge, was a little fresher for this one, but both sets going to the tiebreak, and yeah, just an unbelievable thing to see. Djokovic, you know, the legend he is, but starting to kind of wind down in his career.
I would say so. It's definitely unfortunate he couldn't get that 100th win, but on the other side, time for someone else to be in that spotlight now.
And then Alcaraz, a second-round exit, was surprising to me.
There you
but
go.
my one thing I wanted to mention, I know you said Pegula's down 7-2 in the series. Put one up on the score column for Pegula. She took Sabalenka's margarita.
There you go, after the match. Right.
So put one on the board for Pegula.
Yes. Sabalenka will have to catch up in that category. But that does do it for our talk about the Miami Open. I know it was quick. It was fun.
It was.
We'll be here
just
next
like
year
the men's doubles.
Of course.
Oh, perfect. You are so good at this.
Come on, man.
You guys don't want to go anywhere because we have more of this talking about pro days right after this. Hello. So I guess the crew's getting ready for the next segment on one of our amazing shows. I'm Nick Cohen, host of season 20 of Hitting the Field, and let me tell you about those amazing shows. On behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content, but I'm here to tell you about everything else we offer here at the network. Mondays at 4, HTF Bets goes live for season 10 with 3 gamblers that, although it may not always seem like it, are here to help us all earn a little bit of extra money while we watch sports. Diego Ortiz, Tyler Brownrigg, and Andrew Gregg's ball knowledge and fun personalities make this show a fan favorite. On Tuesdays, you all loved it, so we brought it back for season 2. It's Girls Got Game, hosted by Frankie Noble, a show blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next is everyone's favorite sports podcast, The Combine, hosted by who other than Ty Patton, an easygoing, conversational, and technical podcast dropping Wednesdays, also on Spotify at The Combine. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for the network's main show, Season 20 of Hitting the Field, hosted by me. Here, we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure. We love some football, basketball, hockey, F1. We also cover baseball, soccer, and we even have to show the UFC love sometimes. Penultimately, TGIF, because Friday is nighttime, hosted by Kathleen Moore and Matthew Bracker. Season 8 of Nighttime is where you'll turn to for all things March Madness, UCF sports, and other collegiate events. We're ending with something brand new. HTFN has never had 6 shows running at once. Also filmed in our new podcast studio is HTFC, hosted by Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon. Football, or soccer in America, is the most popular sport in the world. Across multiple leagues and cups, soccer is a year-round sport, and HTFC is your new source to stay updated. Also on Spotify, by the way, at HTFC. Outside of our 6-show roster, be sure to tune in to our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog, run by our vlog squad of Brianna St. Jean, Michaela Croker, Ashley Rowe, and Ben Huber. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and X to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube, leave a like and comment. And with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I'm Nick Cohen. Thank you for your continued support, and back to your regularly scheduled programming. And welcome back. I'm joined by 2 football fanatics to my right.
Yes, sir.
Matthew Bracker, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good, thank you. To my left, Elijah McClary, how are you?
Ready to talk some football.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump right into it, or stomp right into it, if you will. Matthew, your guy you're talking about is a large fellow.
Yeah, you know, some have been saying this. Listen, what I look forward to this time of year is, you know, the draft and specifically the stories. There is no better story than Florida D lineman Desmond Watson. This is the biggest man I've ever seen in my life.
Look at that.
6'6", 464 pounds. Have we ever seen a player built like bro? He's like if you go into the Madden player customizer and just move all the sliders to the right.
the
He's
way
like,
up.
he is the Dave Blunt of college football. He can't put down the cup if you know you know. But as much as I joke, he's an insane athlete at 5'9", 340 time, 25-inch vertical, not, you know, great, but still. And look, he's just swimming through these guys. They're begging for their life. But what I love about Desmond is look at him as an offensive player lining up in the backfield. This defense does not know what they're doing. They're so
that
confused.
looks so odd.
I
That's
mean,
terrifying.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and just rolling over these
Sure,
guys.
he only got 1 yard, but it was easy.
It was all they needed. I'm
was a
saying
nice
if you
one,
draft this guy and put him in your backfield, like at the goal line, who needs the tush push? You got the Dez.
He's the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the
And he's a blocker too. You know, helmet coming off. That's a guy I want on my team.
Yeah.
But he is strong.
He's a dog.
You're gonna see it here. He benched
Oh
36
my.
reps at his pro day. That would have been the most out of all combine invitees. But he didn't get an invite. They do not want bro in the NFL. I don't get it. I think like by far he's still going.
He's repping that like it's 45 pounds.
We're not
I
on
know.
camera. My mouth is
To the
wide open. Oh
Pause.
my.
He's just still
this guy.
going. It's insane. I don't understand why if you have a 5th round pick, if you have a 4th round pick, you don't take a flyer on this guy. If we're talking about players who single-handedly took their destiny in their own hands and improved their stock, Desmond Watson's, that's my pick.
Exactly.
love that.
And you talk
I
about
love that.
if you have a 5th round pick or something, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
He doesn't pan out, he's out of the league in a year.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a 5th round pick. How much starting talent is really drafted 5th round and beyond?
Exactly.
And it's
not
not,
a
a
ton.
very deep class either.
No.
And with some conditioning, he can be a larger Vita Vea.
Yeah.
He could be a slightly less athletic Jordan Davis.
Well, this is what they're saying. There's a tweet, I forgot who said it, but whoever drafts him, they are going to make him lose 100 pounds just for conditioning reasons and
100.
which
purposes.
is likely
That's
for his
crazy.
Yes, no, exactly. And still, even if he does, he's still going to be a unit, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely bonkers. And you also mentioned, because we're going to be talking a little bit about 40 times, 5'9" is not very impressive.
No.
For someone of that size,
That's impressive.
come on. Okay, so we're going to move on slightly to my pick. I'm going to be talking about Jalen Milroe. Again, 40-yard dash time. That is the big story with Milroe. He ran a 4.4 flat.
Jeez.
Absolutely unreal. He was expected to run fast, but not necessarily that fast. For context, Milroe's time would be a bit behind the 4.33 mark of both Robert Griffin III, who was 2 pounds lighter, and Michael Vick, who was 15 pounds lighter, but a little bit ahead of Anthony Richardson's 4.43 time at 244 pounds in 2023. And, you know, the thing is, though, look at how Anthony Richardson has panned out. He kind of hasn't.
Yeah.
So, but Jalen Milroe, I have him as my quarterback 6 in the draft. Might sound slightly crazy. I don't think it is, though. I have him behind Cam Ward. I have him behind Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart. All of those are non-negotiables. I also have him behind Dylan Gabriel and Kyle McCord. Some of that, I know it can be argued. I just really do not think Jalen Milroe is a good quarterback. He's a great athlete. 2,800 passing yards this year. In 2023, my bad. With 23, right, with 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And then 531 rushing yards is like, okay, you know. But then 12 rushing touchdowns as well. In 2024, he also had 2,800 passing yards, only 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's 5 more. He was a lot less accurate. He did increase the rushing yards by about 200 with 726, but 20 rushing touchdowns is kind of Jalen Hurts numbers. Now, I don't know. I will say, for a Bama quarterback, he didn't have a ton of receiving talent around him that some of the past Bama quarterbacks have had, except for like Ryan Williams.
Yeah, Ryan. I was about to say Ryan
He's
Williams
also
is
17.
pretty generational.
Also 17, a freshman.
Fair, yeah.
Last year, he didn't really have anyone because you look at guys like Tua and Mac Jones and even Bryce Young.
Yeah,
they
when you
had
compare,
multiple
yeah.
first-round
Yeah, for
picks.
sure.
So I'm giving him a little bit of credit for what he was able to do in his time at Bama, but I don't back down from him being quarterback 6 in this class. I think he could be kind of a Taysom Hill type player.
I was about to say, yeah, I think some teams could see him in some packages for sure.
Right, because he's fast, but
Yeah.
he can throw it.
He did lose possibly the greatest coach of all time.
Oh, for sure.
That's
and
a
a
great
always
big
gonna-
thing
yeah.
to lose.
Great point.
Yeah.
So that's kind of Jalen Milroe. I have him as quarterback 6, but his pro day did increase his
I like
stock.
that.
I'll say that mid-round pick in the draft.
I see like a 4.
Yes,
Like round 4.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I've heard that the Steelers and Mike Tomlin really like Jalen Milroe. So we'll just have to see about that. But we're going to move on. Elijah, you were talking about one of the best players in the entire draft.
Yeah, I'm talking about an absolutely generational talent, Ashton Genty. First of all, the first thing I see when I look at him is an extremely compact frame. He's 5'9", 216 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not one to make comparisons. I know you're like that too. With comparisons comes extreme expectations.
Yes.
But this dude is literally 1 inch shorter and 3 pounds lighter than Mike Tyson in his prime.
That's insane.
The same size as Mike Tyson. Could you imagine trying to tackle prime
Right,
Mike Tyson?
and Genty is infinitely faster
Yeah.
And
than
he's
Mike Tyson.
faster, and he's, quicker, all that. Well, I think the thing he wanted to show, all 32 scouts at his pro day, was that he wants the workload. He wants all the carries in the world. If anything, his draft stock was already significantly high. He raised it even more than it already was. All right, last year at Boise State, he had 357 carries over a 12-game span. That is an average of 30 carries per game.
And that's NFL numbers, too.
That is
That's a bell cow running back.
High NFL numbers. And a lot of guys in their mocks have him going 6th overall to the Raiders. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but that is where he's projected to go. I think potentially he could have raised it
And
a little bit higher.
I want you to jump right into that. How high do you
Alright.
think he could go?
All right, on a scale of 1 through 10, hot take, whatever you think.
And we're going to rate it.
Oh,
Yeah, please do. Please do. I think potentially he could go 5th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
10.
10 out of 10 hot
10.
take?
I think it's 10. Look, I mean, he has the talent to do it. Like, I don't disagree with you there. But a lot of these teams, obviously we know this, they don't value the running back like they used to. And
But they should.
I'm
Look at
not
Saquon
saying they
Barkley, Derrick
shouldn't.
Henry.
I mean, if
the game is changing to running backs.
it's slowly changing, sure. But, we see all these low contracts. No one wants to offer a huge contract. And I don't think anyone's going to want to offer.
Philadelphia Eagles do. And look
Yeah, but
where
that's
that got them.
Saquon. That's Saquon. This is an
Hey,
unproven
they are
running
both
back.
generational.
So I have another hot take. I'm not saying this team will do this or even should do this because of the players that are on the board as well. I have Ashton Genty as my best player in the entire draft.
I'm not against it.
And in recent memory, the highest we've seen a running back get drafted is number 2.
Saquon Barkley.
Yes. And we see what Saquon has done over his career. I'm not saying the Browns at pick number 2 should take Ashton Jeanty because no matter what, they will have either Cam Ward or Abdul Carter available, one of them. But I think if it were a different team, a team that, kind of like the Thunder in the NBA are so stacked but just have great picks, I think he could go number 2. Not will actually, but thoughts on his ceiling actually being 2.
In 2017, the Jags also took Leonard Fournette, first round, 4th overall.
They did.
So they've taken a running back
That did
in
not
the top
pan out
5
too
people.
well, Justice.
It did not pan out too well.
But
He did
Matthew,
for the Bucks, though.
I want to ask you, as our nighttime host, focusing on UCF sports, UCF had quite a bit of guys at their pro day.
Yeah, it was actually kind of shocking how many guys UCF had at their pro day. This was at the Big 12 pro day. So a lot of people came. Arizona, I know we were talking about it before the show.
Yeah.
T-Mac was there,
got
and
some notes.
that's a guy who really improved his draft stock. He ran a 4.48. But UCF had 17 players at this pro day, which are 17 players going to get drafted from UCF?
Nope.
No, not at all. But there was a lot of really good standouts and a lot of guys who were not on the radar that might have, they might be a little blip now. Tight end Evan Morris, he led all players in bench press at 31. So that is a strong
awesome.
dude.
Wow.
And I see that. I'm like, why didn't we get him on the field, more?
Yeah.
And
At least
obviously
in blocking schemes.
Exactly. And Penny Boone and Johnny Richardson, they had great 40 times and shuttles. And I think a lot of really good players got to show how much talent they have that they really couldn't on the field this season.
Absolutely. So 17 players for UCF is extremely impressive.
lot.
Thank you for that. Elijah, I'm going to give you less than a minute. One more team that really showed out at their pro days.
Tennessee Volunteers. The biggest sleeper in the entire draft, I think, Dante Thorne Jr., 6'5", 215-pound wide receiver, ran a 4.3 flat. They also got Dylan Sampson, who I think is the most underrated running back in the whole class because he hides behind Genty and Amari and Hampton. And James Pierce Jr. as well, off the edge. They all had great pro days that no one's really talking about.
Yeah.
All valid points. That receiver you talked about, he's not even on my
He's a
radar.
bigger,
I can admit
faster,
that.
stronger
Sounds
DK
like
Metcalf.
Madden numbers. I'll do some research. But that does do it for some pro day talk. We also need to give one quick shout out, one sentence. Xavier Restrepo of Miami. He did, unfortunately, not show out at his pro day with a 4.81 40 time at
Dang.
5'10", 209.
quick.
That's not a
For-
shout out, that's a call out.
It is,
Yeah,
and I'm
that's-
sorry. He's a great slot receiver. He will make for a great slot receiver in the draft, I think, because game speed is different from 40-yard times. We all know that. But to harp on it for 10 more seconds, in comparison, Michigan nose tackle at 6'3", 330
Don't do it.
pounds,
Don't do
an
it.
entire
Oh, no.
121 pounds heavier. Kenneth Grant ran a 4.8 flat. That's 0.01 seconds faster
Brutal.
than Restrepo
Don't do
at
it like
121 more pounds. I digress.
You didn't have to do that.
I didn't. I wanted to. I'm sorry. But we're going to move on. After this commercial, I'll be ranting even more, so don't go anywhere.
You never got me anything for my birthday.
I don't even know what that is. I thought birthdays were every 100 years like the Kids' Choice Awards.
What?
Ah, finally, he's here, man. Ah, he's always late.
Who?
Marcus?
You good?
I'd give them one of these, and one of these.
Behind every on-screen moment is a whole team of engineers and technologists.
And you can be a part of such a team through SMPTE at UCF. You'll join a team of students just like you who are ready to innovate the future of TV and film.
With SMPTE at UCF, you'll be able to connect with local industry pros, learn about new technology in the industry, as well as get backstage experience that really matters. Join SMPTE for a backstage pass to all of this.
We meet every last Monday of the month for our general body meetings. There, we discuss how new technology is being used to create new media, and we get to highlight local professionals and their specialties.
On top of that, we have some site visits planned, so tune into our social media to be notified of when those will happen.
So if you're ready to pull back the curtain and find out what really happens behind the scenes, join Simpty at UCF.
And welcome back. If you were without power or Wi-Fi on Tuesday night, then I'm deeply sorry because you missed quite a night of NBA basketball. The Bucks beat the Suns, in which Giannis scored 37 points and 11 assists, and Devin Booker scored 39 points and 11 assists. The Blazers beat the Hawks and Trae Young, who put up 29 points and 15 assists, mainly in part because Denny Advia scored a 32-point, 15-rebound, 10-assist triple-double, and Shaedon Sharpe showed out, scoring 33 points and 10 rebounds. Then we head to Memphis, where the Warriors beat the Grizzlies by 9, and Draymond Green scored a measly 13-point, 10-rebound, 12-assist triple-double. But Steph Curry said, "What you know about me," and told the world that he is ready for the Western Conference playoffs. He scored 52 points, which is ridiculous. He scored 12 threes, which, because it's Steph Curry, we're not really raising any eyebrows. But that should not be the case, because 12 threes in one game is not normal. He also grabbed 10 boards, dished out 8 assists, and recorded 5 steals. However, this was not the most exciting game of the night, and not even the craziest stat line. The Denver Nuggets lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves by a single point in double overtime. This was a big-time win by the Wolves because there's 3 teams bunched together in the Western standings, in the Warriors, Grizzlies, and Wolves, all with 44 wins. But I don't want to talk about the Wolves anymore, besides the fact that Ant had another great game with 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker won the game for the Wolves. But moving on to the Nuggets, you're going to think I'm lying, but Nikola Jokic scored 61 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Also, Russell Westbrook was terrible this game, scoring only 4 baskets on 11 shots, including 0 for 3 from 3 for 12 points and 5 turnovers. He missed a 2-on-1 fast break layup, didn't hustle back on defense on that same play, and then worst of all, he fouled on the potential game-winning 3-point shot, ultimately resulting in the Nuggets losing. He did kind of redeem himself last night with a 30-point and 11-rebound performance, but in a game where Jokic, Aaron Gordon, and Christian Braun all sat out. Jalen Pickett scored a triple-double, and the corpse of DeAndre Jordan had 10 points and 17 boards. Final shoutouts from last night go out to 2 rare occurrences. Anthony Davis was healthy, so of course he balled out and did carry the Mavs to a victory. And the Heat beat the Celtics, the mostly healthy Celtics, and held Tatum to 4 for 17 from the field and 2 for 9 on threes. We beat them by 21 points too. It wasn't close, and don't look now, but we are in fact on a 6-game winning streak. But with all that out of the way, the NBA season is ending in about 10 days, and we need to talk about the MVP conversation. It's a 2-man race right now between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. Shai leads the league in points per game with 32.8, and it's not like that's all he does. He also averages 5 rebounds per game and 6.3 assists per game, and is just outside top 10 in steals per game with 1.7. However, Jokic is third in points per game with 29.7, third in rebounds per game with 12.8, and second in assists per game with 10.2. He's averaging a triple-double. Only 2 other players have done that ever, and one of them was over 60 years ago in Oscar Robertson, and the other is on his team in washed Russell Westbrook, who did it 4 times, by the way. And as I mentioned with Shai, that's not all Jokic does. He's top 10 in steals per game with 1.8. To put this into perspective, he won MVP in 2021, 2022, and was robbed in 2023, and then he did it again in 2024. And this is his best season ever. It's plain and simple, no other way to put it. Statistically, this is one of the absolute best seasons we've ever seen. He was robbed in 2023, as I mentioned. He lost that to Joel Embiid, and that was simply voter fatigue. They didn't want him to make a three-peat winner and win 3 MVPs in a row. They wanted to reward Joel Embiid finally being healthy. You know, we can't change the past, but Embiid averaged 33 points per game, and that's even more than Shai is right now. So what are we doing? This isn't even truly jumping into the fact that a third of his points are being scored from free throws every game. The only thing in Shai's favor is record. The Thunder have the best record in the NBA, and the Nuggets don't. They're in 3rd in the West and overall 6th best record in the league. But going based on how some of the awards this season have gone, that's a major factor. In the NFL, Lamar Jackson had superior stats to Josh Allen by a mile: 3,700 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 531 rushing yards, and 12 rushing touchdowns, compared to Lamar's 4,100 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 915 rushing yards, and 4 rushing touchdowns. The argument came down to who is more valuable to their team, and the true answer is both of them. Both are Pro Bowl, All-Pro, MVP, now winning quarterbacks. Neither team would be half as good if you slid Colt McCoy in there instead. I think that was voter fatigue because Lamar won the year before and they wanted a new winner. If you took away Jokic and Shea from their respective teams, who would still be better? Honestly, I think the Thunder. The game last night I told you about where Westbrook had 30, Jokic was out, and they lost the Spurs that don't have Wemby or De'Aaron Fox. So that is my take on the MVP race. Jokic is my MVP, and as long as he's in the league putting up these stats, he will be MVP. That does it for this episode of Hitting the Field, though. I'll see you next week for the penultimate episode of Season 20, but until then, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always